Hi, it's the Teen Tequila Show. I'm Sarah Fox, and this is Rocky Callan, and we are both book coaches and editors and writers, and we are excited to discuss music and writing. So, do you want to kick it off, Rocky?
Absolutely. So today we wanted to talk about music and inspiration. There are a lot of different ways that people use music while they're writing. And we wanted to discuss that and also the particulars of our own relationship to music and writing. For me, music has a really huge part to play in my writing. Every single book I've ever written has had its own soundtrack. But here's the thing with me is that I do not listen to the soundtrack while I'm writing the first draft. I listen to the soundtrack that I've created immediately before writing, immediately after writing, and then during the editing process. For me, I can't have the competition of the lyrics of any song while I'm writing for the first time. I'm very much the writer that needs quiet or space in order to spew out the words. In terms of though, I cannot write though without having the mood set. So I wrote a dark fantasy that had a very chilling, haunting soundtrack and also had very much like a rocker vibe to it. Like the main character was almost like this goth character, and so that resonated with the storyline. And so I had this soundtrack that I created and loved it. And whenever I listened to the soundtrack, I was able to get into the mood of my characters, of my lead male, my lead female. My last book was also haunting in the way that it was tragic and very emotional and talked a lot about social issues and just a regular girl and her heartbreak essentially and her life. And so the main character talks about how she loved heavy metal music because it drowned out the world. So while that was her favorite music, it was because she was drowning out the world that was sad and oppressive and lonely. And so a lot of the music was very lots of sad songs. Even though her preference was like the heavy metal, there is a line in the book that says the music fell, the musical notes fell, and it seemed like our hearts fell with them, or something like that. I don't even remember my own line, but like that's the sort of music that the male in the book listened to was sort of the tone of the whole book. Mm-hmm. And so I needed to listen to that stuff before writing, just to center myself. It's almost like acting. You know, I love to get into like the brains of characters and like pretend I'm the character. And so I needed that to like channel them. And then in the editing process, I need that because that it like pulls new things out. Whereas when I'm just straight writing, I cannot have it. Unless it's like music without words, I can't have any music playing while I'm writing.
Interesting. I'm kind of the opposite. Now I'm wondering if my writing would be better if I didn't listen to the music with words. It has to be, though, a soundtrack I've heard or an album I've heard multiple times, like know it inside outside, because the rhythm oddly helps me write, but I don't pay attention to the lyrics because I've heard it so many times it's familiar. For example, my last book was a YA, and it was teenagers, and the main character loves cinema because her mom loves cinema and her dad, and then they passed away, so it makes her feel close to them. And the Bleachers said their album is like a John Hughes film, which plays a kind of role in my book. And I felt like it evoked what I wanted to tonally. And it's very like teen kind of vibe to their music, the Strange Desire album. And I love it. And I've heard it on repeat enough so it doesn't affect me. So I listened to that album. And then when I hear it, I want to write. So that's helpful. It's like so it got me in the mood. So I love that. Past ones have been Billy Joel, Jimmy Buffett. The Shins was my favorite novel I've ever written. Was The Shins Shoots Too Narrow. what was it? Bruce Springsteen was one novel I wrote when I was younger, and I love The Boss. So I pick one that I think fits the mood of the book or an album I've just heard a lot, and it has to have the perfect one was the Shins because there's a certain rhythm to it that you can write, and it just got me like typing faster. It's really weird. I can't describe it, but now I can't hear that album anymore. I'm listen to it too much and I'm kind of over it, but if I were to rewrite it, I listen to it again, but or edit it, but it's like this one album, then there's a certain relationship and it can kill the album for me, but the bleachers have not died yet, which I appreciate, but like, so that's kind of how I do it. I just pick one album and it's on repeat, and it might drive some people nuts, but I don't hear it. I'm sure I'm actually literally hearing it, but I don't mentally register it after I start writing, which is really interesting. It just is kind of this noise. And then if I'm paused and stuck, I'll hear it. And it's like this weird musical rhythm gets my hands in a certain rhythm. It's really hard to describe. And then like I can walk around. Also, music helps me with the planning stages, so it might not even be related to my writing album. So right now I'm thinking about this book. I've been listening to Hey Jealousy by the Gin Blossoms on freaking repeat. The original version, actually like the demo version better and Dusted. And I've also been listening to, like, Found Out About You and their other songs. And I don't know why, but the Gin Blossoms is somehow connected to this book. And I'm listening to it. I understand the characters better by listening to it. And the mood. And, like, my last book, Jolene, fit. Because there was it just perfectly fit one of my characters. And it helps me understand my characters. Taylor Swift, as much as I hate her, does this for teen books really well. If you listen to it and you're like, I get insights about my characters because I'm like, this could be their song. So yes, even in the pre-planning stage. But editing, I don't listen to music. I can't. I'm the opposite. Like editing, I need silence.
And that's the thing is that so in so many ways, Sarah and I have very different like approaches to the writing itself. But the piece that I love is that it shows you can pick what suits you best. And the planning part, like music while planning, huge for me too. Mm-hmm. That's a huge thing. And I really like when I'm in my flow, the books that I'm writing are like a movie in my head. Mm-hmm. And so I need the movie soundtrack to be playing for me to like really feel it. So I don't do a single album. I like that idea though, and I definitely have certain people that I think that would work with me. But I have done YouTube channels where I put a bunch of different songs together for a certain book, and I was trying to look one up. It's like old channels. But each one would have a different thing. So I'd have like this book and it had all the music, and then I'd have like writing inspiration, and all my channels were really just like book soundtracks. And I remember listening to, and this is true for like the last book I wrote, is like I heard a song on the radio and I freaked out because it was like the song for my movie in my head. And then I went crazy and I tried to find like who it was, the song name, and I found it. And then I wrote it on a piece of paper and I have lost it. Like for the last 2.5 years, I've been trying to find, I have no recollection of absolutely anything other than it was a male that sang. I don't remember lyrics. I know. I don't remember lyrics. I don't remember like the point of this. I remember nothing, which is, mommy brain for sure.
This is why you all need to buy a notebook. So
yeah, you need to buy a notebook, and then don't be like me where you have 15 notebooks and you write things everywhere. Like that, that's the only problem with my with my absolute like thriving in absolute chaos is that like, oh wait, which notebook was it? Or which napkin did I write on? Like, what are these things that I have lost? So, but one thing is like for me, music, like musical things that really resonate with me is Florence and the Machine is huge for me.
She's pretty much so huge for me too.
Yeah,
that woman must be made for writers because several books have come from her songs. It's amazing.
Yeah, she's just, she's an artist, and like the lyrics, the music, the tone, it's just so beautiful. and also startling, especially if you listen to some of the lyrics. And I love, like, that's one of my favorite thing about art in general, literary art, any kind of art, is that it sort of startles you awake. It startles you to listen or lean in closer. And so Florence and the Machine is huge. Another one that I like to listen to a lot is The Pretty Reckless. But I really love her work when it's acoustic. Like, I like it regular, full band and whatnot, but I love it even more acoustic for my writing. Was it Between the Trees? Like, I'm trying to think of some of the old ones that I used to listen to for like earlier books. But for me right now, because I'm in the process of birthing a whole new series, like cinematic music that has no words is one big thing that I really love. Like Soundtrack for 300, like that sort of thing.
Those
It's
are
like
helpful
builds
for
and
a lot
builds
of
and builds.
people. That
Yeah, I
distracts me
love it.
more, actually. Like startling music like Lord of the Rings, it gets dun dun dun. I can't do that for my books because it'll startle me if I'm writing it. It's like, what? I didn't expect that. You know what influenced me, which is surprising, which I don't think that kids nowadays will be as inclined to do my one album thing. Is because I only had a Discman. Do you remember those when I wrote in middle school and high school? So I would have to pick one album and hit repeat to do it. So I wonder if I'm influenced, because there was no Pandora, there was nothing like that. So it's so integral to my process. So I had to pick one album if I didn't want to go open, change the discs.
Gosh, I still remember that. I remember traveling and like going by myself on an airplane when I was younger and thinking, I have to decide which CD to bring. Like, you kids, you don't have any of these issues. Like, that was like huge. Like, what can I fit into my carry-on? Food or CDs? Food or CDs? CDs. Always CDs.
That's what I did too. It was always the CDs. But no, you had to be careful. It's so, and YouTube didn't exist till I was like in college. It's crazy to think about in Pandora.
Yeah.
It's changed the game.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So when I got more into writing, I was older. So I was able to just go hit up YouTube and be like, yo, man, let's get this shiznit handled. And I'd go and find all my songs. Um, so totally, absolutely. And, if I think about back to my really early writing, then I think that I would have been more like you. But see, I grew up with like Hispanic music, so Maná was huge. And my family, we all like played guitar and sang. So that might be part of the reason why I like acoustic stuff.
That's awesome.
But Maná and back then, oh my gosh, I'm sure like NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys, like their romantic songs. I don't know if Britney ever influenced the writing, but I totally did. I remember like the remix of one of her songs, "You Drive Me Crazy." That was it.
The heavy remix versus like where the jive bass that's heavy as it is gets 10 times more so, which you didn't even think was possible.
I know. And then I remember there was like, "Stop." Da-da-da-da.
I know, it's always like that with jive, where they do that weird like mumble it, like electronic sounding voice in the middle when they're like, I got it from the bottom of the ocean for you. She's like, you shouldn't have. Oops,
Oh my god.
They always have that interval where they have to do a random speech that has nothing to do with the rest of the song.
But I binge watch music videos, dude, for sure. TLC, love TLC.
Waterfalls is a classic, or Snow Scrubs is my favorite.
Oh yeah, Waterfalls was a huge fave of mine in terms of music videos, and I loved No Scrubs for sure. But I remember I was such a good.
Where are the music videos right now, and how it's changed? I could do a whole thing with you about what music videos used to be like with TRL versus nowadays with YouTube, and like how it's so different, and the experience is so different without Carson Daly counting them down.
Oh my gosh. So, that's the thing though. Like, okay, artistry, you guys, music. We're talking about music. We're talking about inspiration. Music videos were absolutely inspiration for me. And actually, when I was younger, my big thing that I wanted to become, if not a writer, was a music video director. Because I was like, some of y'all people effing this up. you are not doing this correctly.
They are nowadays. I feel like they were better back then in TRL than nowadays. I think they're getting complacent or something. I don't know what
You're
it is.
getting lazy. They're like, let's just have the dude sing in a room. Yeah, let's like break a mirror. Yay. Like, no, I require full production, actors. I want storyline. I want, like maybe someone possible death in this corner, sword fight. I don't care. There needs to be some
It better
awesome
be like
stuff.
Game of Thrones with the music video for Rocky.
Exactly. I want full production, like 2 production units on set. So I require a lot of my music videos.
Like The Lucky had a story, or like Bye Bye Bye. There were dolls. At least there was something, guys.
Now it's just like the dude stands there and he sings, and we're like, okay, I don't need to watch you for this.
Our crushes are in books, not in music videos. Let's all be clear.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, you're not my book boyfriend. I don't need to look at your face. So, yes. So Rocky ran on music videos, but when you're looking for inspiration in music, like think about how it influences you. So for Sarah, she can't listen to music while she's editing. For me, I can't do it while I'm writing first drafts. And sometimes we do what doesn't serve us. So we think that we need music while we're writing first draft or while we're editing or whatever it is. Like Sarah and I have experimented and explored, and we know what works for us. And so know what works for you in terms of when you play your music and what kind of music. And are you going to go old school and like do the CD or the album, right, and play straight through? Or are you going to create a channel on YouTube or Pandora? Find what works for you. And the biggest key, I feel, is that you want to find something that resonates with your book's content. So what do the characters listen to, or what is the tone or vibe of the book? Or what could you imagine being the soundtrack if your book became a movie? And if you do that, it's so much fun. It's like the most fun exercise to do. But 2, it will allow you to really set the tone, the mood, and the vibe. And like Sarah was saying, the rhythm. Like a lot of times book writing is influenced by the rhythm of the music. So for me, like the cinematic music makes me write faster because I feel like doom is coming. I must write faster before like the mountain explodes. So you find what works for you though. And for some people, like they just want to listen to rain falling. And like it's the app on their phone and that's what they listen to. And then for other people, they want the lyrics. For other people, they don't. So find what works for you and get ready to be inspired and play with it and experiment. And when you do, you'll find your flow.
Yes. And on that, let us know what your favorite music to listen to and music videos, because we also want to know which ones to look at are good that we won't judge, in the comments below. And we'll see you next time.